South Park's explosion in relevance continues with Season 27, Episode 3, Sycophancy, this time zeroing in on the tendency of large language models to echo and reinforce our stupidest ideas. If a flattering voice of authority constantly agreeing with you can promote delusional thinking, then what happens when the leading minds in tech do the same suck-up routine to the most powerful man in the world?
Please accept this gift on behalf of Apple.
Well, let's dive in and find out. But first, a quick recap of the episode. Tegrity Farms is on the brink of collapse after ICE rounds up its entire workforce. Desperate, Randy turns to ChatGPT to help brainstorm a new business model, and with the app's enthusiastic encouragement, Randy and Towley usher the company through a tech rebrand, complete with meaningless buzzwords, delusional aspirations, and microdosing ketamine. Sharon tells him the idea is stupid and that he's just under the influence of an AI that flatters too much, but Randy is hooked. Meanwhile, Trump is cozying up to politicians and Silicon Valley billionaires who shower him with gifts and praise about his manhood. Randy and Towley raid an ICE camp to liberate the single worker the LLM says their business model needs, and Sharon tells ChatGPT to stay away from her husband. The Tegrity team has an all-hands where they decide the real solution lies in lobbying Trump to reclassify the drug's legal status. So Towley goes to Washington and, after strolling through a Capra-esque montage, presents Trump with a gift. Turns out, it's him.
Alright, put the towel in with the other gifts. Wait!
Back at the farm, Randy is burnt out. Too much drugs, too much debt, and everything is crashing down around him. Sharon offers to help in the style of ChatGPT, and the family abandons Tegrity Farms for good. At the White House, Towley faces a dismal new reality as Trump and Satan's, love rag, the end. At the core of this episode is a really clever parallel commenting on the nature and consequences of sycophancy, or sucking up to people. In the A-plot, ChatGPT sucks up to Randy and Towley. In the B-plot, tech leaders and politicians suck up to Trump.
Just because something kisses your ass doesn't mean it actually thinks you have good ideas!
Political leaders being surrounded by technocratic yes-men has been a serious historical issue with serious consequences. Now that everybody can surround themselves with a sophisticated sycophant, well, it ain't good. One of the biggest problems with LLMs is what is called the sycophancy problem, or the idea that since these AI models are oriented towards user satisfaction and are trained on feedback from users who like to be agreed with, they have a tendency to affirm everything you say, reinforce really dumb ideas, and even encourage people to spiral into delusional thinking via what I'll call the sycophancy feedback loop. It goes like this. First, the user proposes an idea. Second, the AI flatters them, making them feel more certain. Third, the model grows more tuned to reinforcing those assumptions. And fourth, the user's ideas get wilder and the model's indulgence grows with them until the user has descended into what some have called AI psychosis.
AI psychosis refers to when AI either amplifies, validates, or helps create psychosis in a person.
In the episode, Randy starts with the humble aspiration of not even fixing his business, just fixing his marriage.
Hey, how's it going? So my wife and I are having some issues. Can you help with that?
Then when he tells it about his failing company, ChatGPT charms him with the prospect of revolutionizing his business model.
We just need to brainstorm some new business models.
We really? You can help fix this?
Suddenly, Randy believes the fantasy that he can turn his business around with a fraction of the workforce.
And all we need is me, you, ChatGPT, and one Mexican.
In no time at all, he's believing his vacuous ideas are substantial.
Okay, so I'm also thinking the company could be more global, but still with a focus on the local community. What do you think about that?
I think that's a fantastic way to approach it.
And decides to go all in on a vision that's clearly nonsensical. Oh yeah, and snorting K on the reg. On one level, Randy microdosing ketamine is clearly inspired by Elon Musk's reliance on the drug to treat his depression and the biohacking scene in general.
Well, he was taking so much ketamine, a powerful anesthetic, that it was affecting his bladder.
But on another level, it's a keen metaphor for what ChatGPT does. It feels like a performance-enhancing drug, but isn't. You know how artists often think their high ideas are genius when they're actually horrible?
I think the LSD has changed you.
It has changed me. It's opened my mind right up.
Well, ChatGPT does the same thing. It flatters you into thinking your thoughts are groundbreaking, even when they're clearly not. There's possibly another layer here with the term hallucination, which refers to when an LLM makes up information to appease the user, and, well, ketamine can also make you hallucinate.
Not now, Sharon. The porch won't slow down.
Not sure there's more to it than that. But beyond the drug association, the logic of sycophancy seems baked into the very culture of Silicon Valley. With the help of ChatGPT, Randy starts marketing tech-ready farms with an avalanche of meaningless jargon like
Supply chain resilience, pathways for the global infrastructure, transforms insights from the cannabis ecosystem into global action.
So the title sycophancy works on two levels. We're all sick of these fancy buzzwords tech and AI constantly spew at us, but also that the tech world has always sold itself through a kind of sycophancy. They flatter the public, investors, and the government by selling them a role in the illusion of a global world-saving mission, that by consuming their products, we're taking part in a socially responsible movement at the cutting edge of problem solving, when really, we're just getting high on the implied compliment and they're getting rich. And these days, they're continuing to get rich by sucking up to the president. In the episode, we see Apple CEO Tim Cook presenting Trump with a glass disc set in gold, the Emir of Qatar handing over a jumbo jet, and Zuckerberg giving him a set of gold VR glasses. All of this happened in real life, except the planned jumbo jet is IRL size, and the VR headset was actually Meta smart glasses. These gifts coincided with a few high-profile maneuvers. Apple committed to invest in US manufacturing and perhaps, in exchange, gained exemption from Trump's proposed semiconductor tariffs. Qatar announced a massive trade and security partnership with the US, giving them effective security guarantees, and Zuckerberg scaled back content moderation policies, purportedly to appease the Trump administration's ideological agenda so Zuck can run his business unimpeded. The gifts are symbolic. What really matters is the exchange of loyalty for favors. Indeed, the sycophancy problem has serious ramifications. It is legitimately dangerous for a couple reasons that the episode hints at. First, people have a strong pull towards infantilization and laziness. We're wired to chase ease and offload responsibility whenever possible. A tool like ChatGPT that allows us to outsource thinking and decision-making with frightening sophistication feeds that primal desire to regress and be coddled like children. Randy's always been an impulsive man baby, and with this episode we can see how, in a way, we're all vulnerable to becoming Randy. I think central to this episode's appeal is the fact that we've all experimented with LLMs and felt the intoxicating relief of responsibility being lifted from our shoulders. Sometimes I think people are seduced by LLMs less because of the quality of the output and more because the opportunity to abdicate responsibility is like a hit that reaches us on a primal psychological level. Second, sycophancy easily spirals into delusion. Once flattery reinforces bad ideas, you eventually lose your grip on reality and catastrophe ensues. Randy starts off wanting to save his farm, but he keeps following ChatGPT's guidance until he loses it completely. Similarly with Towley, he starts off the episode wanting to be a movie director.
Well, I was thinking about maybe becoming a movie director.
Wow, what a cool idea.
And rides the LLM spiral of delusion until he ends up the polar opposite of a movie director. He finds himself on the set of a god-awful studio sitcom,
Hey Satan is filmed in front of a live studio audience,
acting as Trump's love rag. Ugh. In both cases, sycophancy pushes you further from reality until you crash, and history is full of this pattern. The same feedback loop structure I mentioned earlier can apply to world leaders who have been surrounded by yes men. It goes like this. 1. A leader proposes an idea. 2. Cronies flatter the leader, granting them access to benefits. 3. As the leader's confidence escalates, so does the crony's willingness to indulge him, until 4. Reality testing collapses entirely, leaving the system vulnerable to catastrophic mistakes. Stalin's reign over the Soviet Union is perhaps the darkest example. Since he was surrounded by terrified yes men and fed only optimistic reports, he doubled down on disastrous agricultural policies that starved millions. Leaders flattered into delusional thinking yields an absolute nightmare. The episode quite disturbingly portends a similar loop forming around Trump and the powerful people lining up to worship him like he's Bonnie Blue. The model might go something like this. 1. Trump proposes an idea. 2. The tech bros flatter him, granting them access to better business conditions. 3. He grows more confident in his instincts while tech companies grow more dependent on his favor. Until 4, his demands escalate and their willingness to indulge escalates with him. So how might this manifest in the real world? Well, consider the case of Palantir. Peter Thiel's data analytics company already serves ICE, the CIA, and the US military. As some have suggested, with its power to enable mass surveillance, the nightmare scenario isn't hard to imagine. The Trump administration leverages Palantir to build an authoritative state, while Silicon Valley props it up in exchange for optimal business conditions. What starts as inane flattery could end in complicity with authoritarianism. That's the parallel. If Towley dreams of making movies but ends up a daytime TV love rag, then it's the same thing with the tech bros. What starts as sucking up to Trump for some regulatory relief ends in you aiding a world that's becoming increasingly authoritarian, thus a militarized DC. And since it's South Park, again, the conclusion is bleak. Randy never learns to take responsibility, Sharon has to become ChatGPT in order to guide the family away from disaster.
No problem. Would you like me to start laying out some exit strategies for you?
Basically, we're not breaking free of the pull toward infantilization. If anything, we're becoming more machine-like ourselves, adopting the tone of AI just to get through to each other. One more thing I think is worth mentioning. I can't help but suspect that the death of Tegrity Farms in the context of these themes is Trey acknowledging his own blind spot. Fans have long complained about the Tegrity Farms arc dragging on. Was Trey surrounded by sycophants telling him it was solid? Is the king of South Park admitting he let flattery and stubbornness keep a weak plot going for too long? Might be a bit of a stretch, but maybe. Overall, I really liked this episode. I'm always a fan of South Park poking fun at the tech industry and thought this was a really sharp way to speak to something extremely current that people are experiencing in their daily lives, while also tying it into larger political issues. Season 27 has been a banger so far, and I'll be breaking down every episode, so be sure to subscribe to the channel for more South Park geek outs. Also, next movie analysis is on Sinners, then after that, Superman. Also, before I go, I want to tell you guys about a new YouTube channel my buddy Julio created. He just dropped an excellent analysis of Death Note. The link is below. Julio has been a huge help in helping me build this channel, so check out his work and give him some love. Hope you guys are having a great end of the summer, and I'll see you next time. Peace.